I would like you to speak and share about a lot of things. But thank
Okay.
you for welcoming all my viewers.
Oh,
So oh no, that's okay. That's really fine. And I'm happy to have Ashlesh Rao once again. I hope you had a chance to check out the previous video. I want you to be happy. So if you have not, you're missing something in life. Please go right now, check out, and then come back to this. On that note, thank you for watching Slate with Anita. And hi, Ashlesh.
hello, Anita. How do you do?
I'm doing fantastic. And how are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Instantly, you are a funny man, and I have been trying to find out something funny that people may have to say about you, and they have nothing funny. So I'm like, oh,
Am I a funny man?
because
Yeah, maybe.
you have a kick-ass sense of okay, it's still a family infotainment channel, but still you have a kick-ass sense of humor, and I think the wit in your programs must be really how people learn more and better.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I think so. No, like even like deep transformation can be light and easy and fun. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you for saying that because I have gotten into trouble a lot of times in my life because I think especially in India, seriousness is equal to like concentrating.
Depth.
Depth, yeah.
Depth.
And if you're funny, you're probably not serious about life. And I'm glad we are on the same page with regards to that.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So today, what I want for my viewers, Ashlesh, is explore the coaching work that you are doing. Of course, I will get to the other part, which is to understand more about your coaches. But before that, how did you come about, say, pursuing coaching as like a deeper way of building your engagement or building yourself in the world of NLP? How did that come about?
How did we get into coaching? Is that your question? Okay, that's an interesting question. So, I think, okay, so a little background. So, before I got into NLP and before Monica and I got married, and so I used to work in a company called Landmark Education. So, was experiencing a lot of wonderful coaching over there. Now, when we got married and we got into the world of NLP, and I was looking for something that would express me, to be honest. And I think I'm not sure if I shared with you my first few experiences with NLP weren't.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it as much, but then things began to start changing. Okay. Now for me, the picture was very clear. Learn NLP in 3 to 6 months, master it, and go and transform the world and be like Tony Robbins and all that. But it's been 18 years and I still feel this. I'm in the middle of the ocean and there's so much to learn. Each time we learn something, there's so much more. So our focus actually was first on our programs itself. And yes, I did work with a few sports clients, children. And they happened to come. It was by accident. I think it was by accident. So our focus is more on the programs. But in the programs, what would happen is that people used to come and ask for one-on-one work. So while working with them, I began to start seeing results. With sports people, I've worked quite a bit, especially badminton players initially. And I was really excited to see the transformation in the players. So within a few short sessions, suddenly their results and their performance on court was very, very different.
Right.
And then what happened? Word spread. So we knew we were doing something right because people started coming back, and they would invite, they would word of mouth, and that's how people started coming to us. And I really enjoyed doing one-on-one work. I found the depth that we could go to doing one-on-one work was just amazing. Loved programs. I love programs, but from there, when people came, we started working on different areas, maybe fears, maybe the future or goals, or maybe some traumatic stuff. So that's how it started. Now we didn't call it coaching that time. It was just NLP work, right? But then after some time, and I think largely because of the influence of Tony Robbins, and from whom also I've learned quite a bit, I began to start seeing that even Richard Bandler, John Grinder, all these amazing people, began to start seeing that there's so many different ways of working with people, and you can have your own essence when you work with people. So that's how it started. So people started coming to us. They wanted specific results. We started working with people. People got results, and that's how that's how things started for us, and that's how it grew for us. So for over a year and a half, Monica and I both worked with people absolutely free when we started. And like I said, we knew we were doing something right because people were getting results and people were coming back, or we were getting recommendations. So that was how we started with NLP and coaching. Okay. I hope I've answered your question. I think that was your question.
Yes, you have. I just have a backup question to that, of course. Like, how do you personally find the distinction between NLP way of coaching and other forms of coaching? And if you could share a personal perspective over a Google definition, if I may.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not very thing on Google anyway. So I'm going to give a very biased answer, okay? Because 18 years I've been in this, and so the way I look at things is from this particular field, right? So we're trained that way, right?
Right.
So okay, so if I look at essentially how coaching has been defined, is one of the ways is working with the person to move from point A to point B. That's the standard definition. One of the things I've seen a lot of coaches when they're working, and even I did that initially to some extent, the focus was a lot on behaviors and strategies. Okay, not the NLP mental strategies. It was behaviors. Okay, so where are you? You want to get there. So what do you need to do? So it was all about doing, right? And I think what happened was with NLP, I began to start understanding that we're not just working at the conscious level, we're also working at the unconscious level. So deeper level shifts, the values, beliefs. I think really good non-NLP coaches who are very skilled do work at the beliefs, values, like at a deeper level. And I think they do it quite naturally. So they listen for the deeper piece and work with people that way. I think what happens with NLP is that you have it's like this huge color palette, like endless color palette that you can tap into, and you can mix and match and work with people. So I feel one is definitely working at the unconscious level, helping people make shifts over there. The other distinction I would say is that strict coaching, is working with the person from where they are to where they want to go. So that's the present to the future. Okay, that's traditionally strictly how coaching is defined.
Right.
I've come across coaches and coaching models who, if a person begins to start describing issues related to the past, they say, okay, you need to go to a therapist. And I do agree that people need therapy work and they need coaching work. But I think the beauty of NLP, and when somebody understands NLP very well, you're not limited by that, unless there are some intense cases which a psychologist or psychiatrist needs to handle.
Right.
But things like abuse or trauma or even phobias or allergies are things that we've been able to work with. So a simple thing, somebody has a goal, they want to move ahead, there's something inside that's stopping them, or something coming their way, or there's a conflict.
Right.
And they may or may not be aware of it, but so when we do the work, we can help them. Maybe there could be a memory that's attached to that, so we can work with those memories, restructure those, release those emotions, and then people naturally tend to move in the direction of what they want. So like I said, it's a very biased answer, okay, because I've been in this and I love this. So I have experienced other coaching models, and maybe I've not worked in depth with them, because I think a true artist is someone who works deep with anything. So many people even learn NLP at a very surface level and think this is what's possible. But I think when somebody goes deep into something, you begin to start like there's so much of beauty and value in that.
Yes.
So unconscious,
Mhm.
I think if you're working with the unconscious, you can work on a huge. The timeline need not be limited from the present to future. You can work on past issues very effectively, and I also think that one of the things I really like about NLP coaching is no two coaches will work the same way. You can there's it's the possibilities are you if you work with someone, I work with someone, we can work completely differently and help the person have breakthroughs. So in my head, though I don't say it outside as much, I think of NLP coaching as transformational coaching.
Okay.
Okay, and working at the unconscious. Yeah, that's pretty much the way the distinction for me. But like I said, I'm biased, so
Well, what can I say to that? Because we share the same bias. So
yeah. Yes.
if someone was contrarian, and then this could have been a healthy debate. But I just completely agree because the distinctions that you brought about in terms of everybody having their own unique way of working on the same issue and going beyond the surface and working more at the unconscious level. Because to me, what that translates to is that it's also more long lasting that way.
Right.
Because most of the coaches, of course, and no offense at all, they do a tremendous job even by moving people or shaking people at the action level. Because
Yeah.
yes, that's a big block, that's a big building block in people getting results.
Right.
However, for me to take action on a consistent basis,
Right.
I believe that NLP coaching is where the the permanent shifts can happen. Or
Yeah. I was just saying something just opened up for me, Sumaya.
please.
So I think many coaches, what they tend to do is they tend to work over a period of time. Let's say 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year,
Yeah.
which is very, very important. Also, I'm not saying no, uh, but one, especially at one particular point of time, what I got really fascinated with was creating breakthroughs in one session. So what if somebody need not have to, suppose we didn't have to work with somebody over a period of time.
Right.
There was this one or two aspects that were limiting them, and if they could have a breakthrough in that session, then it's a one-stop session, you know. So for some time I was doing just that. I would say, okay, I'm going to work with you just once. Now, not with all clients. Now, let's say if I'm working with a sports person, we're working on a journey. If I'm working with, let's say, someone wants to work in the business and it's long term, then there's a journey. Okay, if I'm working with coaches, they want to become, there's a journey. But let's say somebody is relationship challenge, or I think you're frozen.
Yeah, we have frozen.
And yeah, I'm frozen. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, so I think if something is stopping someone, and maybe they've struggled with it for quite some time,
okay,
we can have one session and help them break through those limitations, and then people will fly. You know, that's one of the things we say. Or people already have all the resources within them. So sometimes just one idea, one shift, one image can change everything. So
okay, okay, let me get this right. So you're telling me that, let's say I get jitters before going on a big stage and say speaking or performing or something like that, okay? Or I'm about to have a very big negotiation and I want to feel completely on top of my game. So are you telling me that you can engage with me for just that specific instance and see if something comes up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very possible. And a lot of our coaches have also done that.
Wow.
So, I mean, again...
I always used to think, sorry to interrupt, I always used to think that it has to be preferably a long drawn arrangement and...
I think both contexts are different, both are useful, both have its value. At the same time, so if you have you watched any work that Tony Robbins has done?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of his videos, the films?
Yes.
So I like watching some of his those films where he demonstrates actually working with somebody. Maybe for 2 or 3 hours he'll be working with somebody, large group, and then he has the person have a breakthrough. And of course, they're not following up on the actions and all that, but it's like this. People naturally want to progress.
Correct.
But something is, it's like the accelerators pressed, but the brakes also jammed.
Correct.
When the brakes are released, then people will naturally move forward.
NLP people take note of the number of metaphors that Ashlesh is using. NLP coaching is like the color palette, and now accelerator and the brakes are jamming. So I hope we're unpacking parallelly.
Okay. Yeah. So that's also a big possibility.
Train of thought. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, what was that?
Can I break your train of thought?
I don't know what I was saying, so I don't know. Maybe the train stopped, and you spoke at the same time. Absolutely good. Yeah. So I was talking about like a one-session transformation, and those are also very exciting. So those are also, both have its value: long-term engagements and personal breakthroughs, 1 or 2 session breakthroughs.
Okay, because it was interesting how you said that all of us naturally want to do better progress, and yes, something is stopping, and so while the foot might be on the accelerator, the brakes are also jammed. And so you're saying that an NLP coaching intervention can just help you kind of manage your gears afresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Some instances maybe related to specifically what's happening around us, and I know you have a team of brilliant coaches for the work that they have done.
Yeah. Okay, let me talk about one of our coaches. So this is what. So she lives in Delhi, Gurgaon actually, and she got a call from someone from Ahmedabad saying that his 12-year-old grandson has a phobia of heights.
Okay.
And so would just not get into a lift, would just not, obviously is scared, right? And a phobic response is the nervous system is just shut down.
Yeah.
On the 6th floor, correct. So she prepared for that session, one session. So what happened is, just imagine a 12-year-old boy scared to go, is scared of heights. Okay?
Right.
So there's no flying, there's no getting into the lift, all that. So what this boy did when they came to Delhi and they went to the coach's house, he went by stairs to the 6th floor.
Okay, that's scary.
Now she did a phobic response, So then I think she had a 1-hour session or 1.5-hour session with him, and she texted me. She said, Ashlesh, he finished the session and he went out and he went down by using the elevator. Okay. Now this is a child, for God knows 4-5 years he's been having. No.
Okay, you're frozen again. Yeah.
Am I okay now?
Yeah. I'm able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think. Okay. So that was one example of like a one session breakthrough, because she was also very emotional. She said, just imagine the future of this child was completely gone. In one way, if you look at it, someone was scared to go to a certain height. And typically what can tend to happen is that, our brain works in metaphors also, right? The language of the brain is also in metaphors. Yes. So going high, so even success can feel like a height, so many things can come in the child's way of being able to move forward. So that was one, I think, beautiful example of a break.
But is it possible to say briefly what transpired? Like
what she did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the fast phobia cure. So it was the fast phobia cure process and a lot of anchoring work. And so what she did was if I can use NLP language, it was doing the fast phobia cure, collapsing those negative anchors and building positive anchors for him with respect to going in the lift or heights. And that was what happened. And so I'll give you like the way I see it, and at least the way my understanding. So knowing that I have a phobia is one thing. So I might have an awareness of the phobia, but it's not me who has the phobia. It's my nervous system. So when I'm in a situation, I may want to be confident, I want to be comfortable, but my nervous system just brings out that past memory, and it goes back to that particular situation, and we have a bodily response. Right. So by doing some of these NLP processes, you retrain the nervous system to access a useful resource or collapse that negative anchor. So that's basically what's happening. So ever since I got the understanding that our nervous system plays a huge role in how we function, whether we access resources or not, whether we feel confident or not, whether we're feeling, jittery, use the word jittery, or we're feeling comfortable. Yeah. Very often it's our nervous system. So when we can do some work that impacts our nervous system, we can change, we can change experiences and even the course of our life, but with that.
Right. And that must have been so powerful, because most of us are, maybe we don't have phobia per se, but we're scared of so many things. Like yesterday, it was so crazy. So Sue and I were having a Q&A session on Zoom, and it's like you also attract, when you get scared, you also attract that, And I was like, nothing should happen today, and it should all go fine. And Zoom did not work.
Oh, wow.
And the best part is, of course, we figured out a way, but then all the while I was thinking, okay, where have I messed up? And like, Anita, don't panic. And this is like me when I know that the don't thing doesn't work, and right. Like big deal, I can always reschedule. So the logical part of me knows that there technically is nothing to be scared about. And right. And Sue's like such a sweetheart, and she's like, okay, you want to do it like this, you want to do it like that, and she's just trying to be helpful, and that's messing me up even more, and I'm like panicking even more. Right. It's a very normal situation. So fear can cripple people, So yeah. When you get that coaching and through, because some of course some people who don't have a background yet in NLP would be watching this. Ashlesh, would it be fair to say that by working on the nervous system, what you are hinting at is that you're changing the connotation of something.
That experience, that structure of that experience, yes. We're shifting that, yeah.
Negative to a positive.
Yeah, to something that's, so it's like, so someone's in a room and all doors are shut. Yeah. They don't know where to look, and when the switch happens, they're able to find doors. So when they can find a door, they can go out. So it's like that. Yeah. So there are options. So I see it as one is able to access more flexibility, more creativity by doing that. They're able to create, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that the choice of words that you used. And of course, for the people who know a little bit about NLP, he said it's like a room with no doors, and then they're able to find and open doors for themselves, which is possibly why I love NLP, because it believes that we all have the resources that we need within ourselves. So so thank you. Another example maybe of coaching.
Okay, so some of our coaches are doing quite a bit of work in the work of allergy, helping people get rid of their allergic responses, to dust or to certain foods, maybe to certain material also, right? So there are a couple of coaches who are actually doing. Sorry?
I always thought it's a medical thingy.
So there is. So here's the thing. this is again how our nervous system works. Okay, so if I can just dive this a bit and share a little bit of one of my experiences.
Yeah.
So when my father, I love the AC. Okay, so the thing is, I'll sleep in the bedroom, and it will the minimum temperature is what I'd love to keep. So if there was snow, I would love to sleep there, right? And I'll need a quilt also. Okay, but that's how I've always liked it. When my father was in the hospital just before he passed away, so what happened was from the waiting room till we got to the CCU, there was a long passage, and it was extremely cold. Extremely cold.
Okay.
So I remember as I was walking, I would go, "Why is it so cold?" Okay, and then I would go meet my father. Where there also it was extremely cold, and then I'd come back. Now, what happened was, I mean, I was also about that, Anita. Okay.
Yeah, you had slipped for a bit, so you could repeat it.
Yeah. So what happened was, my father, when he was in the hospital, he passed on. Okay. Now that happened. Now what happened after that was quite interesting. So a few days later, when I went back to the room, to the house, and I switched on the AC, maybe I went to sleep at around 11 or 12. At 2 o'clock, I woke up gasping, and I couldn't breathe properly.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out what was happening. I thought, and what felt right for me was to just switch off the AC. I switched off the AC and I started breathing better. Went back to sleep. Again, after some time, woke up, switched on the AC. Again, maybe half an hour later, I got the same reaction. And then I switched off the AC again. So it was funny for me. I loved the cold, the AC thing. But my body was now reacting differently. And I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't connect the two. I was thinking maybe it was something I ate or something. Okay. This happened for some time, till I decided to do some work on it. And when I was doing some work on it, what popped up for me about that about the AC, it took me, the image of me walking in that passage, in the hospital passage, is what got connected. So for me, the cold was associated with my father's death. Okay, and that's how my nervous system connected the two. So the allergy, if you look at an allergy response also, typically I'm upset.
You're freezing a little bit. Yeah. Talking about freezing and the screen.
We're talking about the screen. See, the computer need not listen to me all the time. So, so somewhere my nervous system made an association of the AC, cold, and my father's death. Okay, and what I did was I went and I resolved that, and it separated for me. Went back and slept. Entire night the AC was on and I was comfortable. Okay, so now what's happened is my body is temperature.
Okay, can you repeat the last bit because we lost you again? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So what my nervous system had done was to connect my father's death with the temperature.
Right.
And then what I did was I went inside and I worked on it, and it's separated. So once it delinked the two events, the experience of the cold and my father's death, then it's like my nervous system was now able to breathe freely.
Right.
Okay, so that was the reason I'm giving this example was because if you look at an allergic response also, typically what tends to happen is, let's say they have a certain reaction with milk. Okay, now that reaction could have happened maybe at some point of time. They were drinking something and there was an unpleasant event that happened along with that, and the brain and the nervous system just links the two. and it's very unconscious. People don't even realize.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, I'm eating, I'm so comfortable drinking milk all these years. Now suddenly, I don't know, my body is reacting differently to milk.
Right.
So one of our coaches, he worked with two young children,
Okay.
and I think both had. By the way, whatever I'm saying, if it's, I do think that there's. I'm not saying that this is the answer to everything. If someone's lactose intolerant, then go to a doctor. That's an important thing to do. So what this coach did was he worked with her, and he did it in his own unique way. He used metaphors, and finally there were different associations that she formed with milk.
Okay.
I think that night or next morning she started drinking milk comfortably. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it? So,
Yeah.
and few of our coaches, a couple of, actually 2 or 3 of them are predominantly they're working with allergies. And there are certain processes for that, and they're doing really well with that.
Okay. And what you're sharing is some of these processes involve metaphors and
So largely it's you're collapsing the anchor again. It's an anchored response. The allergic response is seen as an anchored response, and we are delinking that. Right? And then you begin to start seeing your body taking that particular, or being in that particular environment and being absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
So we are retraining our nervous system. That's basically.
Yes. Or sometimes when we let the allergy persist, we are retraining the nervous system to persist. Like,
yes.
Now that I'm talking to you, like my husband will say, okay, oh no, I'm not going to eat that. Remember how I puked when I had drank?
Yes.
And that was like 10 years back.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're interesting. Any last instance or anything that stands out from say a lockdown perspective, corona perspective, any unique incident of coaching?
So, actually, what happened was when we had the lockdown started, I put out a message to some of our coaches, and some of them, and quite a few of them, I think 20 odd of them, they stepped in. We just created a group, and what we said is, okay, we'll just reach out, and if people want support, we'll work with them free. Okay. So we had quite a few people reach out, some from our graduates, and also we had one of the coaches. I think the form went to places where a lot of people started writing, and asking for help and support. Okay. So many of them worked with anxiety, strong relationship issues. Because now people are the lockdown. Now you're in the same place with. Normally you would go to office.
Yeah.
you not see your parents the entire day. You don't see your spouse the entire day. Yeah. Right. So now what's happening is different triggers were coming up for people. So relationship issues. We were a little surprised, and we are not adept at dealing with this. Even suicidal cases, so some of them, and then we took the help of a psychologist to on how to deal with it. So there was this doctor who, I think she was in Meerut. So this was the young doctor, and what had happened was, you remember there was that instance of the mob attacking the health workers.
Yes.
So that very day she filled out the form.
Okay.
And she was to the coaches, yeah. And she was scared to go to work. Okay. Just imagine, okay? So you have to go, and young doctor. And I forget exactly how the coach worked, but what the coach did was she got her to get in touch with her sense of purpose, and something got to do with the coat. So the moment the doctor wears the coat, her role that time is of someone who's there to make a difference and to serve.
Right.
Okay. The problem was, I hope I'm narrating this correctly because I'm speaking from memory.
Sure.
So what happened was, the moment the doctor wears the coat, the young doctor wears the coat, now she's like a soldier. So she goes there with a mission. It's not about her. Okay, and so she does what she needs to, looks after, and only when she comes back and she removes her coat, now she can, she can talk about feelings and she can go to different places. But what happened was the coat became her anchor again.
Right.
The role and her identity, who she was initially going to the hospital was this scared little girl, but now she stepped into the role of being a caretaker who was protecting people, who was serving people. And so what happened was none of those so-called limiting thoughts came to her when she was working. It's only when she came back and she took it off, she took off her coat, then she gave herself permission to maybe become the little girl for some time and associate and to look back and reflect and even feel if she needed to feel or talk to somebody if she needed to talk to. So I thought that was very powerful, and I couldn't imagine what it is like thinking, if I stepped into her shoes, I have to go to work, I have to go and look after people. This whole COVID situation, we don't know what's going to happen, and it's not just the COVID. If I have to deal with the mob, I don't know what to do because I've fled for my life.
Correct.
So it is quite amazing how. So I really there were lots of things that the coaches had shared, and but this is one that stood out for me. It was in the beginning of the thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this specific instance as well. Because of course, the whole social media has been. Have you frozen, or are you there?
No, I'm very much there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm very much there. I'm just very still.
Okay, this is very embarrassing. I try to be all goody goody and Ashlesh, state change. But you know what? I'm so touched by this specific. Sorry.
Doing this.
I'm touched by this specific instance because we see so many videos about thanking the heroes, healthcare heroes, the salute in US and the salute in Canada and the salute in this apartment. And here you are telling me that how if something were to be not okay with that community, and how the rest of the support system can fall disastrously, and if NLP and the coaches can work and create shifts so that they're able to go and do their stuff out there, and we all continue to stay safe.
Yeah, it was, and not just this. I mean, this was awesome. Look, and I'm so grateful to all these coaches who just stepped in and see, they were talking to strangers.
Right.
They probably will never interact with them again. So someone calling, someone texting, a lot of WhatsApp coaching, and so the coaches went to, so suddenly somebody says, I want to end my life. So and knowing how to deal with people who say that or who are in that situation. So I think what they've done is really beautiful, and not just our coaches. I think lots of coaches and counselors have really stepped up in looking after. I mean, I think everyone's trying to play their part. So
yes,
yeah.
Thank you, because I know that I could completely be accused through certain videos, like I'm trying to advertise NLP, but I think I would like to make the submission that it's just about all of us increasing our own awareness and being there for each other and lean in, and that's all we are also trying to do. Leaning in on something that gives us strength, tapping into something that gives us strength, because it's all about that, supporting each other through. Because unfortunately, I've heard of a suicide recently in a very, very close family circle, and now when you're sharing this, I'm like, I wish that person had gotten in touch with somebody known, a person like your coaches. So,
actually, our coaches are not trained to handle that, but and then which is why we took the help of a psychologist also to tell us how do we handle this, because while some of them may be able to deal with these kind of issues,
Yeah.
most of us are not.
Right.
Most are not, and they need to be directed to a mental health, expert. But I really commend our coaches. I think they've handled it beautifully
Thank
and
you.
very quietly, and
Yeah.
there was. I really love that about all of them. They just, I think everyone was very grateful to just to in some way make a difference. I think that was important for them.
Brilliant. And since this month also happens to be Mental Health Awareness Month,
Mm.
that's what it's crazy. I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens at a certain juncture. So I think, yeah, on this note, I would like to really extend this invitation that please reach out, always get help. And of course, I think neither Ashlesh nor I am claiming NLP as some Sanjeevni or a magic potion, but rather it's a platform. It's something where you can get started off and reach out to other people to help yourself. So thank you, Ashlesh, for
Yeah,
sharing all that you
yeah.
did.
Sure. Thanks, Anita.
Okay, and I look forward to seeing you back next week. And I'll hold on to Ashlesh a little more, and I'll figure out what would be something fantastic to share with all of you. So till then, keep watching and slate with
Sure.
me, Anita. Thank you. Bye.